Hello and welcome to Ask Carl.
Mm.
My name is Dr. Griffin, and this is Mr. Carl with a K Stanton. And we are here to talk about career success as a traffic management professional. I have the delight, honor to sit next to a legend, the man, Mr. Carl Stanton. He has over 41 years of personal property experience, and this is a humbling experience because we get the distinct honor to talk to him about his career as a traffic management professional. So, welcome, Mr. Carl with a K Stanton.
Good to be here at the PPA.
Okay,
Not for long though, but it's
not for
been great.
long. So, he's actually retiring the end of this month. And again, we are going to sorely miss him and all the things he's contributed to the transportation enterprise. So, I have a few questions for him. Uh, Mr. Stanton, could you share with the audience your story of how you became a traffic management professional? Now, add all the funny stuff to it too, okay?
Oh, I don't know if I want to add any drama I done had in my years, but a lot transporters really don't know that I was a security policeman for 3.5 years before cross training into back then it was passenger and household goods. You
Yeah.
know, and they had the school at Shepherd Air Force Base. But as a cop, I was at RAF Upper Hayford, guarding F-111s, nuclear priority areas. Transferred from there to Mather Air Force Base in 1980. And back then, for those old heads that's out there, remember we used to get those computer rips what had the green and white paper with the little holes on the side. And they say you eligible to cross train. And I'm going like, I think anything other than, walking up and down a flight line, guarding a plane probably would be a lot better.
Right.
So I had picked three choices at that time. That's all they gave you was three choices. I picked the dietitian for the hospital, uh, computer, uh, something I don't remember exactly what it was, and traffic management or passenger travel and household goods was my third choice, and that's what I ended up with is passenger and household goods.
And you know they say three is a charm, right? So I
Yeah,
guess that's what happened.
yeah, that's what it was. And I headed off to tech school. I went from Mather to Laughlin with a TDY route to Shepherd Air Force Base. I did my 6 weeks there, and I transferred to Laughlin late October, November timeframe. And that's where I met my first supervisor. His name was Dennis Smith. And that's basically how my transportation career started. I walked into his office one day and I asked him a question. He kicked me out of his office.
Oh no, why?
Don't you dare come in my office if you haven't researched the reg and have a paragraph for me.
And you know, Mr. Stanton, that was my experience too. I'm only 25 now, but when I came in, it was the same thing. You couldn't ask questions unless you actually had done the research and the regulation. And do you remember us having to post those changes to that JFTR at that time?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So my next question is, what does it take to persevere in this career field as a service member and civilian?
Well, one is having a goal and whatever that goal may be. But the overall thing for success for me was knowing your job, not just back in the day how to type a 1299, but know what every block you had to fill out on the 1299, where that information came from. You know, uh, in the computer days now, it's like everything pops up and said, put your name here, put your social security number here, DOD number here, or where you're getting picked up from, but none of that tells you how do you get that information and put there. It's like lines of accounting have changed over years. We got SDNs, they're using tax. Back in the day, we just had one long line of accounting, you know. And if you got that messed up while typing a GBL, hey, that throws everything off.
And you remember when we used to have to type it, and it had the carbons in between, and you mess up something, you had to throw the whole thing away.
Right, yeah, or you get, they say if you couldn't erase it good enough so it to be clear on all 7 copies, void it out.
Void it out.
Yeah.
That's right. So, okay, so this takes me to my next question. What has been your career highlight?
I think finding my purpose. Okay, it was July 1997. Okay, I was at Joint Personal Property Shipping Office, San Antonio, Texas, which is now known as Gypso South Central. And an individual that used to work here, Mr. Paul Davis, he was retired from active duty. And he worked down in entitlements and extensions in the ECAF branch. And at the time, the deputy director, Mr. Fitzpatrick, told my supervisor to inquire if I would like to go down and take at that time, Master Sergeant Davis' position. And so I muddled around, and then my supervisor coming to him, which was days starting, came and said, "Hey, this be the answer. You're the most qualified. You got most personal property experience. So." And I still didn't like give an answer. Next thing I know, Mr. Fitz said, "Well, you going down there?" And I think that was one of the better decisions that he made for me. And the reason for that is that I felt not that any other section I worked in, be it non-temp outbound, that I didn't feel accomplishment, but being in extensions, entitlements, that was accomplishment for me. I felt at the end of the day that when a member called in and give me their information, am I eligible for an extension, I'm PCS, and what I need to do, and giving out that information and helping those folks make sure that they maintain a separation or retirement move, that was kind of fulfilling for me. And it really opened up doors for me. It's like when you work in other sections of personal property, not to take anything away from those sections because they're all important now, okay? But you didn't really drill down into the control generals, Doha, all those type of rulings, when you are, in outbound or non-temp or whatever the case may be, because, BCMRs used to come through that section, Dohas, and especially at the time we had unearned transportation, and there was a whole lot of Doha rulings because when we took money from those carriers, that's what we call them back in the day, uh, they would throw up a Doha appeal, and we had to fight back and forth to make sure the government kept that money. But moving me to entitlements and extension was, I think, the highlight of my transportation career, and that's what I've been basically doing ever since, up until this point, coming to retirement.
And I like the fact that you talked about your purpose and the importance of finding that. And sometimes your purpose doesn't always come from you really seeing your purpose clearly. Sometimes others see things in you that you didn't know you had. And so they help you find that purpose. So, my last question for you is, what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Have you ever just be watching the news and interviews, and the commentator be saying, what's your legacy you plan to leave behind, how you want folks to remember you, and so forth. It's kind of like it make you feel like you're special, but you're just being asked a question. And asking that question really makes me feel special. Uh, I just hope that the transportation community continue to move forward, train their people, make sure they know what they're doing, so when they give out the information to the public, they have it correct. Not just say what you feel, say what you know, say what the regs say, not what somebody done told you. Research your information, then tell it. If you don't know the answer, advise you get back to them. But my key thing is knowing your job better than anybody else. Know it better than your supervisor. Know it better than the folks that wrote the book. Know your job. And make sure that immediate supervisor, you need on hand supervision and training. That's how you build a knowledgeable force. And any of my old troops, they can tell you. I was hands on all the time. I was there training them every step of the way because I wanted them to be better than me.
Now, we didn't anticipate us sharing tea and having a kumbaya moment. However, what I hope you gain from this video is that Mr. Stanton has not only contributed to the enterprise, he's contributed to many of our lives. I can speak for myself. Mr. Stanton has been a friend, he's been a mentor. I've looked at him as a father figure, and it has been an honor to work with you. And when I ask you about your legacy, you are special. You're special to us. And on this Friday, it's going to be hard to lose a special colleague to retirement, but it's a bittersweet moment because the Air Force has the opportunity to give him back to his family. And we look forward to hearing about the great adventures you'll have in retirement. So for now, this concludes our video on career success as a traffic management professional. Thank you.
Thank you.